Good morning, welcome to the stream. Started a couple of minutes early as ever. Yeah, crazy morning again. Bit of red dildo action, but we'll have a look at this to start off with. A little bit of China FUD. We'll wait for a few people to jump in stream. We'll have a talk through it and then we'll see what's going on in regards to price action, because it still looks a mess, doesn't it? But we'll talk through whether we think it's a bear market or not, or what are people's thoughts. If you've got any questions, fire them in the chat. We'll go over Bitcoin news first, then we'll go over some price analysis, and then we'll go through altcoins as usual. So let me know where you're all from in the chat. If you've got any questions regards anything crypto, fire them in the chat as well, and we'll have a good one. Morning, Jonathan, mate. Morning, guys. Right, let's start off with this little bit of news this morning, man. So, Agricultural Bank of China issued a notice that will not participate in virtual currency transactions and related activities. Customer accounts participating in such activities will be closed and customer relationships will be terminated. Hashtag Bitcoin. If you can read Chinese, that's pretty much what it says there. But what pretty much happened straight after that? Okay guys, it seems like the bank deleted the notice only a few minutes after it was released. If that doesn't scream out manipulation, then I don't know what does it? I mean, we've had a reaction on the price this morning. Again, another wick down so far. We had a wick right down to 32,253. Let's just go back to the daily actually. So we've had a wick down, but we're still range bound. There's a good chance that we could come down and sweep these lows down at 31k. Depends how well that holds up, because if you look in the past, so we've had that first initial dump that dropped out through to 30,000, pretty much on the nose. We've then had 2 weeks pretty much bang on 31k, which is that red line of the lower range. There's a good chance that we may be coming down to test that again. If we do drop through it, there's a good chance that we might come down and test 28k before we do start pushing on. I heard we entered a bear market over the last 2 years. Also a possibility, but personally I don't think so. Not yet. I think we're still within this area, aren't we? I mean, if we did start dropping down to these regions at 24 and 28k, then potentially, yeah, but and if it does, I won't worry about it too much. You can still make money in a bear market, and the best time to make money is in a bear market because you're buying altcoins at a low price. So let's see. But so far, not much to talk about. We've had that China news, which is FUD, which we have retracted. So just going back to that, if you've just jumped to my stream now, I'll just read over it again. So this is the news that China put out earlier on. China pretty much said that they will not participate in virtual currency transactions. This is the 3rd largest bank in China. Customer accounts participating in such activities will be closed and customer relationships will be terminated. But like I say, pretty much 5 minutes after that, it seems like the bank deleted the notice only a few minutes after it released. So it's either FUD or they've made a fucking spelling mistake or something like that. It wouldn't surprise me if it was FUD, just to manipulate the price a little bit lower. So that's where we're currently at now. Still within this range here. We lost both of those fib levels at 33k and 35k. So there's a good chance that it may come back down and test 31k now. If we do drop through that, then we're going to drop down to probably 28k. But let's see. There's a few wyckoff theories going around, and we've got the death cross, haven't we? Let's have a look what the death cross is saying today. I'm not a massive fan of a death cross, really. It is coming down. It's more than likely you're going to get a crossover, but that could already be factored in with this price action on this this latest trend here on the 4 hour. It's pretty much there or thereabouts, isn't it? So let's just go to a perp chart. That's a little bit closer. For me, I can see something like this happening. So you're obviously going to get this moving average going down. You're going to get this one going sideways. And I think eventually something like this is going to happen. And we're just going to start to push back up again. And with that, the price would follow and start pushing back up. That's a potential scenario that I'm seeing setting up. If it was in a bearish scenario, if we did go into a bit of a bear push, you could see this drop down here. We obviously get that crossover, and you could see a bit of growth, something like that, or sort of say downward pressure, and it could just keep coming down, and before we do eventually spin over at some stage and go on and create them new highs. But price action could drop down here, maybe to that 24k range, before a long incline up. But that's just a bearish scenario and a bullish scenario. I'm still in my favour of the bullish scenario for now. We are within this range, which in reality not much has happened. I mean, there's a lot more people worried now than there was at this week and this week. So let's see what goes on. See if any more China FUD comes out, and just monitor that situation. Let's just catch up on chat. When it is a good time to buy the Ethereum dip. I think 2k is a solid, nice area to buy. But remember, we could always come down here. I'll actually use this EMA here and this 786 level as support currently. Look at, we're wicked right down to it. So if we lose this level, we're going to come back down to 1700. I mentioned that in a few of the previous streams. And if we do go major bearish, you potentially could look at 1400. But like I say, I'm still in favour of bull. We're using this moving average and the 786. I mean, some people don't like Fibonacci's, but look at that. I mean, how accurate is that fib onto here? I mean, that is just ridiculous. So that's acting as support currently. Let's just see what goes on with that. See if we get a spin around. What are your thoughts on his huge head and shoulders? Not a massive fan of patterns, to be honest, mate. It is what it isn't it. If it, you could say it's an head and a shoulder. You could say it's that, but it either plays out or it don't play out. It's quite. It's not the best indicator looking at patterns, to be honest. Thank the Lord for the dips. Well, yeah. Dips are there for buying, aren't they? I mean, if you never had dips like this, then you'd just be buying at tops all the time. So even if we do come down to these levels, guys, even if we do, and ultimately it's going to pump back up. I mean, this is just orchestrated manipulation for me. People wanting to get in cheaper who think they missed it. We've got the crypto space is massively evolving, and for me, these are just opportunities that you probably missed on the way up. Imagine when you're looking at price here and were euphoric and thinking, fuck, I wish I got back in down here. But when the time comes to the prices coming back down here, people are shit scared, where all this is an opportunity. And if we do lose this level, which I don't think we will, then it's just another opportunity. Ultimately, your bags are going to drop in dollar value. But who cares? I mean, you shouldn't be throwing your bloody life savings into this. You should be playing with money that you can afford to lose. So let's just see what goes on, eh? I'm happy enough just to, even if it does drop, I'm not sold into my major alt bags. If we dip, the dip. I've got some spare stable assets on the side. It's all about planning, isn't it? It depends what you can do. If you've not got any spare cash on the side, then probably would have been a good potential to take profits. Always take profits on my way up, and then you've got some spare capital to deploy on the lower ranges. So let's see what goes on. To me, I don't think this is a top. Tops don't look like that, really. It's just a standard wave on the top. Nothing to worry about. It looks like more consolidation range than it does down here, to be honest. So I'm not too worried about that being the top. I think we've got a fair way to go in this cycle. There's always potential it could come down and sweep this 24k before a slow move to the upside. I still think that at some stage. So what, I want to have a look at Plan B. Plan B is the biggest bull on, but Plan B is the one who's designed this stock to flow model here. These are his targets. There is also a more fundamental reason that we should see weakness in June and possibly July. My worst case scenario for 2021 price, which is on-chain based, August 47k, September 43, October 63, November 98k, December 135k. Personally, I can't see it being that high, but I reckon we should test this region here maybe towards the end of the year, based on that stock to flow. This is the stock to flow here. Like I say, I'm not a massive fan of it, but it has shown in the three previous bull cycles that we have hit the top. So if you look at this previous top of 2011, 2000 and what was 13, wasn't it? Yeah, 2013, followed by it was a double top pretty much 2013. Then we had this 17-18 top, and then if you think that's a top for this cycle, then I think we might be all a bit misjudged, because I still think that we're going to pop back up to these regions towards the end of the year. So what we're seeing now is just a little bit of tomfuckery in my eyes. And even if we did drop out of this range, which would potentially set some bear signals off for me, I still think we would bounce within these two ranges. I can't see us going any lower than that if we did drop below those levels. Did you take much profit on the way up? Not on my major alts, because I managed to pull a fair old chunk out of 10set. So 10set has covered me stable asset wise to load up on my lows if it does drop. Made like 60 grand off 10set, so converted that to stable assets. And if that does drop down to any ranges where I think I could potentially buy, like VeChain, one of the main reasons I'm not bothered about selling it, because I bought my VeChain down here about 1 cent, 2 cent, so I'm massively up. If we did ever come back down to these regions around here at 4, 5 cent, I'd deploy that them stable assets back into VeChain. And Zilliqa, I bought that at 1 cent back in August, I think it was, probably around here, about 1.8 cent I bought it at. So if we did come back down to maybe these levels around here at 3 or 4 cent, again I would deploy some capital on that. But currently it's sat nicely in Swiss Borg, earning a nice rewards from there. So I mean, it's a double-edged one, that. I mean, I could either deploy it into some stables, into some crypto, or I could just leave it earning that yield each day. What does a top look like then? I'll show you what a top looks like. That's what a top looks like. Massive blow off. None of this sideways action shit. Major pump to the upside. And if we take a look at XRP, might be a good example actually. It's not got the data on here for XRP, but you can tell where it's been from where it's currently at. So let's have a look at, we've got Ethereum. That's what a top looks like. None of this sideways action bullshit. That's what a top, absolute blow off up to the top, and then that's what bear market looks like. Absolute dump within space of what did that drop? Instant 47% drop over the space of a few days. So for me, and then we went sideways for ages, didn't we? A little bit of price action, but yeah, I don't believe that's the top for BTC. Standard sideways action there. Picked up DOT at 18. Fucking hell, that's a class buy. That is a class buy. Remember, we could always drop back down to this region where we wicked at 13 bucks. And you could always even look at these levels. Depends how we stay. I mean, alts are absolutely dying off at the minute, and DOT is such a. I mean, that price 13 bucks for DOT, 18 bucks for DOT is absolutely epic. Let's see what goes on though. We need to just keep his eyes on BTC, see if any more FUD comes out, because that's all it is, it's just FUD. And obviously, So look at Fear and Greed Index, which has probably been absolutely twatted this morning. 21 yesterday. I don't know how that's gone up. Oh, we had a bit of a bounce, didn't we? So it's probably not factored that in. We had a good bounce yesterday. We obviously come down and tested that 786 level and we bounced right back up and rejected off that 50% level at 3600. And then we were on a nice little bit of a rise here, and we had that China FUD, and it's just brought us back down to these levels, which is a little bit nasty. If you're looking on my daily, well, what I want, I need this wick to close back up above these this double bottom here. We're not had any daily closures below that. As you can see, we had loads of wicks below, but we've had no closures below that since 7th of June, a couple of weeks ago. So I think if we close above that, things will stay intact. If not, we're going to come down and test this region. Yeah, I think maybe it did it. XRP absolutely blew up on last cycle. It's been quite subdued, hasn't it, recently? We've had all that SEC news behind it. So I never look at XRP, to be honest. Right. Let's see if it comes down and tests this 64 cent region. I've mentioned mine past. This fib here at 1.27 marries up with that wick and that wick in there, so that to me shows that as a nice level of support. If you look at that, so that could be a potential level that we do hit. It's acted as a resistance there and support and resistance there, so that's a key level at 52 cent. If we do drop out of this range where the lowest has been before, you could potentially get some filled up at 52 cent, and if the market does carry on going down, then just dollar cost average down. But I think if you're getting that at 52 cent, or even at 64, I think that's a solid buy. I keep hearing bullish, still waiting on these bulls. This is still bearish. It's definitely not bullish. Definitely not bullish at all. Still stuck within this range. All depends on this range for me. If we do drop below this, I still see a bullish course of action at some stage. See if we wingle down to this level or this level, and then a steady climb back up. I can't see us going any lower on 24k. If it did, then fucking hell, there'll be a lot of people leaving the space. But I think currently I'm not too fussed what's going on really. We are stuck within this range for now, until proven otherwise. Might get a missus put me in a coma for a few weeks. Probably best, mate. Sometimes it's best just not look at charts each day. I mean, I have to because I'm doing videos, and like I say, it doesn't really bother me too much charts. And in reality, if you look at portfolio, you've still got the same amount of crypto, aren't you? You're just losing that dollar value or that fiat value or whatever you want to look at it in. It's nothing major. One tip as well, if you ever look at your portfolio, switch it to Bitcoin value. Just looks at my portfolio now, it's been absolutely savaged. Down 8%. Where's the, let's switch it to BTC, what's it saying? Down 0.075% in BTC, so it shows you that the Satoshis are still staying strong, to be honest, which is it's not too bad if you're looking up here. So if you look at Zilliqa down 4%, but in Satoshis only down 2%. Vapor Chain 10% down in dollar, just 3% down in Satoshis. So yeah. See you at 17k. Bloody hell, that's bearish, mate. Why? What makes you think of 17k? Have a look on the chart. Whenever Bitcoin's created a new all-time high, it's never gone back down to test the previous all-time high. So 20k, like when it hit 20k, it never went down to test its previous all-time high on the previous cycle. And I can't see it going down there, to be honest. You're not going to go from 65k down to 20k. See at 100k. It's crazy how many people, you're either completely bearish or completely bullish, and I think that's quite, what's the word? You shouldn't be trapped by either way. You need to look at both perspectives. You get all these people on Twitter or on comments here saying fucking 17k or 2k or 3k or 1000 or 100k, when in reality you have to take both sides of the table, don't you? If you're here for a long time and you want to do well in crypto, you have to look at both perspectives. So I don't think we're going to go to 100k for a while. I think we will do, but I don't think we're going to go down to 17k or fucking 16k or something like that. We're still range bound, and you can't say we're not until we've actually broke out of it. If we did break below that, then I would have a look at 28k and 24k, but yeah. Hold and hold. Best way, mate. Just hold on. What is the next support? Well, support here, really. We've bounced off 31k twice. We've not had a closure below that, and if you look back in time, we've used 31k a hell of a lot as support. So 31k is the support for me. I think if we did break through, if we did drop through that, then we'll be looking at down at 28k and 24k. But so far, I'm not too worried at the minute. If we did drop below it, then all it is a buying opportunity for me, to be honest. We are under the 21-week EMA. We are indeed. Right, that's BTC and Ethereum mainly covered. So if you've got any altcoins you want me to check out, fire them in chat. And if you've got any questions pretty much with anything, fire them in chat as well. Is ETH going up? No, it's not, mate. It's nothing's going up at the minute. Look at it right inside here. Everything's in the red as usual. Been pretty much in red since halfway through May. So yeah. Well, pretty much before that, haven't we? Since we hit them tops, back on 12th of May, everything's been a disaster for now. What's update on the Death Cross? We'll have a look at that and we'll do some altcoins there. I think people are looking into this Death Cross too much, to be honest. That's where it's currently at. I've got mine offset by 1 day, so it's potentially incoming. Which it's probably definitely going to cross over now. Well, let's see if we use this 31k region as support. So what brought this bearish feeling on crypto and Bitcoin today? Show you, mate. If you just jumped in my stream lately, we had some China FUD this morning. The Bank of China issued a notice that will be not participating in virtual currency transactions. Customers' accounts participating in such events will be closed and customer relationships will be terminated. And then, 2 minutes later, okay guys, seems like the bank deleted a notice only by a few minutes. So, typical China FUD there. Let's see if we've posted anything else on here. So yeah, they just confirming that they released the news and then they got rid of it straight away. So, a little bit of Monday morning FUD for you there. Right, let's have a look what some people said in chat. Shiba. Don't think I've ever looked at Shiba. Shall we have a look? That's Shiba, isn't it? It's nasty, doesn't it? not a big fan of these meme assets, to be honest. Right, if we lose this level, it's going to come down to 647, whatever that is, 0.0000647. I'm not reading that number out because I don't know what it is, but that is low, isn't it? Maybe look at buying some around there. If we do lose that level, it's held up as support quite a bit. 647, remember lows down here, we could swipe these lows at 554. Short KSM. Let's have a look at KSM actually. Yeah, we've lost that level now. I said yesterday on stream that we could get some buys filtered around this range, but that's dropping now. There's a good chance that it's going to come down and test this range down here at 200 bucks. Let's see if that managed to come in. 200 bucks on KSM, it will be a class buy considering we've been up to this region up at 624. So that'll be a decent buy if the market did allow. If you look at that $200 line as well, it's had lots of support around this area, so it probably is a good area to come down and test that range down there. Might pick up some liquidity and then pop back up. What else we've got going on in chat? How many won? Looking nasty, that, isn't it? Still trending down. Most of the market's getting absolutely dry bummed at the minute. So this was the bottom on the latest drop back down there, back on the 23rd of May. Good chance that we're going to come back down and test that region up at 5.8 cent, which is crazy. It's crazy some of these prices are getting right now. So yeah, if you're looking for buys on that, potentially down at this range, can't see any buys. Well, you could always get some lower. I mean, we've had these wicks around here, which could be potential areas at 4.6 and 4.3 cents. So keep your eyes on them. Economies will crash due to too much debt between. Yeah, there's that much debt at the minute between banks. It's an absolute nightmare. COVID just made banks print off an endless amount of money. What do you think about Shiba Inu? I'm not a big fan of meme coins, to be honest, mate. I prefer assets with their own blockchain rather than just something that's jumped on back of Ethereum or... Litecoin, alright mate, let's have a look at Litecoin. So this blue line down here is monthly support at $108. On that main drop, we did drop down to 118, so there's a good chance we could come back down and test 118. But remember, we got some monthly support down at 108, currently at 138, so it would still be a substantial drop down there. I can imagine some of these RSIs as well are going to start going into the oversold territory soon, so that could be a good sign to potentially get him. But if you're looking for buys, I'll potentially target some down between 118 and down at 100, around that region. I think could be a decent level for you to buy him. What's your opinion on Bitcoin? Do you think I've bottomed out now or further drop? It's tough really, because we keep getting that much FUD and manipulation thrown at us. People are starting to get fearful and selling up their bags, which creates panic across the markets. As you can see, everything's starting to dam around sideways. I mean, 31k for me could be another area that we could test. We've tested it twice before. We tested it there as well. So I mean, we could either come back down and bounce off it, or we could drop right through. If you just look at this, I've got a couple of levels at 28k and 24k, which could be potentially something we do test. If you look at this region here, that was the top of that move, and that region there was that spike. So that does show confluence of previous data. So if you're looking for potential buys, I'd ladder some down from 31k all the way down to 24k. Not saying we're going to get down to these levels, but if we did break through that, things would start to look a little bit bearish, to be honest. What do you think about these fan tokens like PSG? Quite like them actually. I think it's I think a lot of football clubs and footballers are starting to jump into these NFTs now, and I think that if a club can have its own fan token and that's tradable, I think that's quite a cool idea. I'm quite a big fan of football anyway, so I think it's yeah, I think it's a good idea. Waiting for a decent football team like Barnsley to get a fan token, then I'll probably start buying it up. I've got some chilies though as well. You think BTC will have a 90% to 8% drop from its all-time highs? Always a possibility. Where would that lead us to? I don't think it will. So many people are bearish at the minute within this range. There's a lot of factors saying that we are bearish, but if you look at an 80% drop, so that would take us to, well, a 94% drop would be down there. 77% would be 14k. 24k would be a 62% drop. What's that? 28k would be 56. We've done a 54% drop so far. Let's just monitor price, eh? Let's see what goes on. I'm not too bearish yet, to be honest. It is looking nasty within this range, but like I say, we're still in that range, aren't we? I think they said short KSM about 30 times. Are Chinese threatened by Bitcoin since they have their own version of a blockchain? What is your thought? No, I don't think they have. It's a global. It's not just American, is it? It's global, and China have been one of the biggest miners of Bitcoin for years. So I just think it's a bit of manipulation, to be honest, mate. Wish I put the rest of my coins into Hex. Hex is absolutely horrific, mate. Can you look at Luna? Got Luna on here somewhere. There it is. As you can see, this area around here was pretty much that area there, so if we pretty much... Let's see if this holds up as a bottom. So that's the bottom there. We use that area twice as support, and if we come all the way through, I actually dropped through it a couple of times there, but if you can see, we use it as support 3-4 times. So if you're looking for buys, maybe that could be a decent area to potentially buy. What regions are at 496, could be a decent area there to buy. But in terms of levels up, I'm not really going to look, to be honest, because it looks quite nasty, doesn't it? If we're looking at an entire move, currently around at 61% retracement level, so we'll see if that holds up as support. If not, we got a couple of levels down here at 473, and then we've got 389 potentially, but I'm not looking at targets yet because we need the market to recover. Currently looking like death, isn't it? How's BTC doing? Push back up to 33k. Just want to go look back on the daily. What I'm saying with BTC is, which I hope happens, we don't close. So we've had, look at all these wicks within this range. We've had no closures below 33,400. So hopefully we can finish this daily candle above this range around here. Even if it's a wick down, it doesn't matter. And that would be slightly bullish on the broader time frame. Do you think we are basically just waiting for either bad news in a row that causes us to break through and KO for good news? That's exactly what it is, George. It's like, unfortunately, it's out of our hands. It's like us as investors. We just have to go with the flow and manage as risk properly. Whereas if you just don't bother looking at charts and think long term, and you're going to be up. It does play with your emotions, all this shit, doesn't it, going on? And that's what it's here to do, I think. If it wasn't an emotional roller coaster, and everybody and his man and his dog will be at it, won't they? But if you come to terms with the fact that we can get these severe drops and these severe pushes up to the upside, and you can manage your risk happily enough, then there's no real issue for us other than you're losing dollar value or fiat value short term. Long term, if you just hold on and ignore these dips and manage to top up at the lows, then you're going to be laughing. That's how I've managed to succeed in crypto over the last 5-6 years. Just buying at these levels, and then when you think you're in a good amount of profit, take a little bit off the table and just keep dollar cost averaging down. If you see a major move like this and you're looking, like I said earlier on, a lot of people are looking at prices here and think, fucking I wish I bought Bitcoin at 30k. Wish I bought Bitcoin at 30k, and it's coming down and I'm saying, alright, this is the end of the market, why would I? So they wanted to buy it up here, but they don't want to buy it down here, and the issue is people don't actually believe in the products and the real long-term vision, whereas if you believe in that, you're going to be laughing at you long term. I'll have a look at ADA in a second, mate. I've never looked into Cup, I never even heard of it, to be honest, mate. Oh, that's why, because I haven't even done a public sale yet. No, never heard of it. Do you think meme coins will continue to rise? Most of them will die off. Probably 5 to 10% of them will survive. Like the bigger ones like Doge and that Shiba probably will survive, but a lot of them have already been wrecked and probably won't come back. But I think people see it as an easy target to jump on and make some money, don't they? So they'll keep on going. Yeah, bit of Ripple lawsuit news would add to fire as well, wouldn't it? Not that. Let's have a look at ADA anyway. There's not much to talk about in terms of price analysis and alts, because everything's dying a slow death at the minute. So I mean, if you're looking for buy-ins, what chart's this? Binance. I mean, in reality, it's not doing too bad, ADA. I mean, everything is slowly dying off, but if you look at that, I mean, if you're looking for buys and the market just continue to slump, you got to look at this level down here. This range here, we've acted as some nice support and we've actually wicked right through it. So maybe if you're looking for buys, which is bang on $1, there's a good potential that you could get some filled down there. But let's just see how it goes. There's a lot of fear in the market at a minute. In reality, I've said this quite a lot of times throughout the stream, we're still range bound. What do you think about Elon and his overall impact on the price? Fuck Elon. That's what I think. Market opens in a couple hours, Bitcoin booms. as a possibility, mate. Got a couple of scenarios that could happen. It could just get some more FUD. We could come back down and test these lows at 28k or 24k, and we could come back up, reject, and slowly have a build up. Or we could have a nice bounce here and go back to test this 34k region, reject, and there's so many potential scenarios that could happen. I mean, I'm still more in favour of a bullish scenario, even though we are in this bearish trend with everything is telling us it's bearish, everything. And that's usually an indicator when to potentially buy. So I topped up on a bit of a long down here. Just a swing long, low leverage. So if it does start to rise, then happy days. If it don't, I get liquidated. But that's a risky run. So is a FUD today in the past few days because of China? It is, mate. Started off with his tweet here. The Agricultural Bank of China released a notice prohibiting Bitcoin and crypto transactions and said they would close accounts of customers found doing so. And a few moments later, the notice was taken down. So, I mean, if you don't call that manipulation, it's either a spelling mistake. But yeah, for me, that's manipulation. If it was something of interest, they'd put it straight back on. So, a little bit more FUD there. We've had all this mining FUD. One key point to note about, a lot of people are saying about all these Bitcoin miners in China turning off and not coming back, when in reality we're just switching off and going to more greener ways of producing Bitcoin. So them mining farms will be back up and running soon. JP Morgan is bearish. That means you should be buying them. Would be nice if we bounce from here. We had a nice bounce yesterday. We come back down to this level and we had a lovely bounce, and then we had that China FUD this morning, and it's pretty much wiped us out on it for now. Strong support down here, so let's see how that manages to go on 30k. I think a lot of people will be looking to get in at 31k region. That's exactly right, Potassium. I mean, fundamentals scream bullish. You couldn't scream any more bullish about Bitcoin. Long term, it is sound, but TA, yeah, everything stacks up in a bearish scenario. So I mean, if you're long term bullish on Bitcoin, just keep buying it. Considering we're at 33k now, and we've been up to 65k. That's a discount and a half, and if it did drop lower, then top up. There's all stuff about Bitcoin mining being green true, as I saw facts that most of it is, but obviously, yeah, I think to a certain degree. I think I'm not sure depending on which countries. I've never looked into that in depth, but yeah, I think there's a lot of Bitcoin green mining going on from solar energy and wind power and shit like that. End of year, think it will rise. Well, I think it will rise over the next few months, but I think we need to get June out of the way, because June's been absolutely disastrous for crypto. Maybe a bit of bearish sentiment running into July. And I honestly think from August, I think we will start to really rise again. Yeah, I just looked at Fair and Greed Index, mate. It's actually risen from yesterday. It was 21 yesterday, it's gone up to 23. I'm sure when that resets in 15 hours, probably down at minus 14, like somebody did that meme. Crypto 7, how's it going, buddy? Cheers, Mick. How much at the end of the year? It's tough, really, mate. I mean, it's hard giving price predictions on some asset which can absolutely fucking shit the bed overnight and come back down to his regions. But I think at some stage, maybe not towards the end of the year, I reckon we can hit about 120k. maybe going in towards January, February time, but let's see. I think all-time highs will be blasted, because that to me, I don't think that's a top. It's a standard, just a standard wave. When you're looking for tops on Bitcoin, I showed it towards the beginning, you get massive wicks to the upside. This was, to me, just looks like a period of indecision there. People wondering if it were top or not, and then selling off. And I still think this is part of the cycle, and I think we've got a fair old way to go yet, to be honest. If we look at this on the weekly, I think we've still got a long way to go and push up towards these regions at some stage. Towards, well, it's 2023, and it depends. Let's just see how it goes. VIX is down. Pre-market looks good for Dow, NAS and SP 500 or greens. That's potentially a good sign, isn't it? Maybe add a bit of China FUD to that. Right, I'll cover a couple more projects. If you fire some into the some projects, altcoins, you want me to have a look at in the chat. Bro, what hoping I give in here? This is a full-blown bear market. Crikey, mate. So all it's doing is going sideways. If it did drop below 28k and 24k, I'd then be thinking, yeah, good time to buy. But I still think we're in quite a good cycle, to be honest, mate. But yeah, I'm not worried until we do drop below this level. And then again, I won't be worried. I'll just be buying the lows. Yeah, so fire a few projects in the comments, get them likes up to 100, and then we'll do a few more projects, and then we'll finish off in about 15 minutes ish. That's exactly right, and no bank can offer the rates that we get from DeFi. DeFi is absolutely solid. I'm earning a 12% APY on Swissborg on my USDC, so that's class. Presume it's that keep, is it, Ryan? If you're looking for some buys, maybe 31 cent could be a nice level to potentially buy. Down at that region. If you look at it as a top around there, use it as support quite a bit, so let's see if it comes down to 31 cent there for you, mate. Polkadot. If you're looking for Polkadot, maybe $16. I was looking at that region earlier on. We've dropped through that. I said about a decent buy yesterday, which it is. I mean, dot at less than 20 bucks is solid, so maybe look at this region next and then $13. If we still continue this downtrend that Bitcoin's creating for us. So far, this 4-hourly candle is starting to look a little bit nasty, so there's a good chance that we could come back down. It's looking like it's going to test 31k again, isn't it? I think 31k's held up very, very well in the past. Let's see if it holds up this time. If it doesn't hold up, might unfortunately die off. F's clinging on to that. If you look at this entire move, I put a Fibonacci on earlier on over this entire move, and it's currently used 1973 as a decent level. I think that's a solid buy. Obviously, we still could come down. If you're looking at Ethereum, there's a good chance we could hit that level. That would be a full retracement of that entire move, and it would then sweep those lows back up. If it did drop below that, you're looking at 1400. Can't see it going any lower than that though, to be honest. 1400 acted as solid support before we did that major run to the upside. but still within this range. We've not been down in tested this lower range for Ethereum pretty much through the entire period, so not too bad so far. Let's see if we can spin this round and push on. Remember, we've got 1700 bucks down there, Ruto. Right, I think I'm going to get off today. Thanks everybody who's joined in the stream. If you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed. I've been trying to do a stream every day for the last couple of weeks. So morning analysis, having a look at some of the news and see what's going on throughout cryptocurrency. Yeah, so if you are new here, smash that like button. I appreciate everybody who's tuned in. And we'll catch you tomorrow.